Hello everyone. We'll study about microeconomics unit 1 in this particular video. That is half of this, and this entire unit constitute of 4 marks. The topics which were being covered is difference between micro and macro, difference between normative and positive, concept of opportunity cost, and what are the central problems of an economy. Let's start. First is difference between micro and macroeconomics. Like earlier, micro and macroeconomics were the two different subjects in class 12 and statistics and Indian eco in class 11. However, from 2019, like last year, probably last year only, that CBC has changed this. Now microeconomics has come in class 11th and macro is still in class 12 along with Indian eco in 12th and stats in 11th. Let's understand what are these two subjects. Micro means I or a small, like you can see the I over here. So this I means individual or at a smaller level. So while we are studying anything at individual level, that means we are studying at micro level and in microeconomics, which means that it deals with the decision making of single economic variable. Single means that one at individual level, like individual demand, individual price, one consumer's income, single firm, and so on. But when we talk about macro, which means at larger level, right? So if we talk about economic level, which means we are studying under macro, and A stands for aggregates, like totality. So if I want to know unemployment, poverty, inflation, national income, that means we are studying under macroeconomics. There are certain tools to study these variables. In micro, we study about demand and supply. So that is demand and supply. When you talk about macro, that is aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Aggregate means totality. So micro at individual level, we are studying variables at one single level, and macro means in totality at national level. Then comes the next is positive and normative economics. Positive economics deals with the situation what is, right? That depends upon facts and figures. It is free from subjective bias. It deals you or tells you about the realistic situation, right? You can say that it reflects the actual economic performance. So situation of what is, that is positive. Normative, what ought to be, what should be, kaisi honi chahiye, right? You cannot prove that statement because it's not based on facts and figures. That completely based on one person's opinion. It's completely subjective. It's idealistic situation. Poverty India में खत्म हो जानी चाहिए. That is normative. COVID खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. Normative. COVID अभी इतना है. Poverty level इतना अभी है. That is positive. Then there are 4 factors of production. Cell. Cell stands for capital, entrepreneur, land, and labor. These are the 4 factors of production which you require. It's any person required to produce commodity. Capital, yes, you require a lot of financial resources. Entrepreneur, the first person himself who want to start with a business. Land, at where you will set up your business, and labor obviously will work for you. So these are the 4 factors of production. The next comes as the concept of opportunity cost. Now, we need to understand that resources are scarce. That may be your money, that's your time, or any other resource. And everything has a cost, right? So whatever you give up, that becomes your opportunity cost. Why? You had the option to choose it, but you haven't opted for it. So it is known as the cost of next best alternative foregone. If you're writing the word foregone, which means chala gaya. Alternative because you had that option to choose it, lekin aapne usko liya nahi. Now, if you observe this, you have 1 hour. Now, in that one particular hour, either you can study or you can watch 2 episodes. right? So if you are studying, so what will become your opportunity cost is giving up of watching 2 episodes. You could have watched it out, but then you are giving up it for 1 hour of studying. That means you are making choice among various alternatives, and among that, the next best, which is foregone, is known as opportunity cost. Now, next comes out to be what is an economy. Now, economy refers to a place where various producers come together, where production units come together in an area to work for the living of the people, right? Then एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे लोग और इंडस्ट्रीज एक साथ आके प्रोडक्शन यूनिट्स आके लोगों की वेलफेयर के लिए, उनकी अर्निंग के लिए काम करते हैं. दैट प्लेस इज नोन एज इकोनॉमी. Now, the next is economic problem, meaning and causes. As we have seen, the fundamental root cause of studying economics is the resources are scarce, which means they are available in limited quantity to you. So the economic problem is that is you need to make a choice to how to utilize that particular resource in order to get the maximum efficiency. So the first problem is that the resources are scarce. People have unlimited wants, that you cannot fulfill every desire, every need of every person. Also, things have alternative uses, which means one resource can be put to different uses. So seeing the situation, you being the government or you as an individual needs to decide कि हमें उस रिसोर्स को किस तरीके से यूटिलाइज करना है. So economic problem is the problem of making choice among alternative uses of resources. There are 3 central problems of an economy: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. These are the 3 major problems of an economy which every country faces. The first is what to produce, which means a government needs to decide that which type of commodity they need to produce. A consumer good or a capital good. Do they need to produce more of food products, or they need to produce more of machines? So that is how they are making a choice. Once they have decided that what they need to produce, then the next they need to decide in how much quantity. So whether they need to produce 15 units, 10 units, 7, and so on, the quintals, tons. So this is the first problem, a central problem, which is what to produce. That they need to decide whether it's a consumer good or a capital good, and then in how much quantity. And why these problems are arising? This is because resources are scarce. The next comes out to be how to produce. How to means it how you need to produce it. There are 2 types of technology. One is labor intensive and second is capital intensive. Now, what do you mean by that? Labor intensive means when you use more of labors and less of capital. Capital means using more of capital and less of labor. What are the effects? If you're using more of labor intensive technology, it will generate employment, but productivity will decline. So you do not have much machines to increase the production and productivity. However, on the other hand, if you're using more of capital intensive, it will increase the productivity, but then again lead to unemployment. And you can see the current situation as where we're moving more towards use of artificial intelligence, using more of robots. So that is, we are able to increase our production, able to increase our productivity, but it is also leading to unemployment. And the last problem is for whom to produce. The next comes is कि when you decided कि हमें क्या produce करना है, कैसे produce करना है, अब next है कि हमें किसके लिए produce करना है. We have different stratas of people in a society, right? Rich people, poor people. We need to decide कि क्या हमें rich के लिए produce करना है या हमें poor के लिए produce करना है. अगर हम poor के लिए produce करेंगे, अच्छी बात है, more people will be able to afford the goods. However, will not able to meet the international standards or to improve a standard of living, because rich obviously want good and expensive commodities. On the other hand, if we produce more for rich, then poor people will not be able to afford it. They will die due to hunger. So that is why we need to again make a choice depending upon the kind of population you have. कि हमें क्या चीज, हमें कौन से ग्रुप के लिए प्रोड्यूस करना है, रिच के लिए या पुअर के लिए. So these are the three problems of any economy faces: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. I hope I am clear with all these problems.